Hola, buenos días a todos. Muchas gracias por estar hoy aquí en este webinario que hemos organizado desde la Oficina Europea, que va a ser el octavo webinario que hagamos para Reto 6. Desde 2016 empezamos a utilizar esta nueva estrategia o esta nueva forma de comunicación con vosotros que nos permite traer las personas de la comisión más relevantes en cada uno de los casos, en cada una de las áreas. En este caso, como sabéis, hoy tenemos con nosotros a Zoltán Krasnay, que, bueno, él es Senior Policy Officer en la Comisión Europea, en la Dirección General de RTD, en la nueva unidad E6, Transiciones Económicas y Sociales. Él es historiador de formación y doctor por la Escuela de Altos Estudios en Ciencias Sociales, es de París. Y bueno, actualmente dentro de la comisión es responsable tanto del área de Ciencias Sociales y Humanidades dentro del el reto 6 que nos ocupa hoy en la comisión, como de cara al próximo Horizonte Europa, responsable de lo que será el nuevo programa del Clúster 2, que para los que todavía no conozcáis Horizonte Europa, la estructura, luego Soltan tendrá la ocasión de contarnos en más detalle. Esperamos, bueno, vemos que la transición de Reto 6, las áreas que se trabajan en Reto 6, pasan de manera muy directa a formar parte de este clúster 2 que tiene como título Cultura, Creatividad y Sociedades Inclusivas. Sobre los aspectos prácticos cómo vamos a organizar hoy la sesión, tendréis una breve introducción mía también para que tengáis la parte nacional, cómo os podemos ayudar, ya sabéis cómo venimos organizándonos, las próximas herramientas que os ponemos a disposición para preparar propuestas, un poco de información general, pero de alguna manera una introducción muy breve, que espero que sea menos de 10 minutos, para que demos paso a lo que nos ocupa hoy, que son la presentación de las convocatorias relacionadas con cultura y patrimonio cultural de Reto 6. Este es, digamos, es lo que nos ocupará la mayor parte de del webinario de hoy, la presentación de Zoltán, seguida de vuestras preguntas. En concreto, para las preguntas, para los que ya habéis participado en los webinarios, sobre todo para los que no, hay dos vías principales. Una es alzando la mano. En principio, durante la presentación no se aceptará preguntas porque es verdad que no es el formato más ágil para interactuar. Después de la presentación de Zoltán, cogeremos primero las preguntas que se hacen con un botoncito que tenéis como una mano, de alzar la mano. En ese caso podéis os compartiré el micro para que podáis dirigir directamente la pregunta a Zoltán, que es la vía normalmente más cómoda y a la que damos prioridad. Para los que por lo que sea no tenéis esta opción, no tenéis un micro abierto o algo que os sea realmente cómodo, tenéis la posibilidad de hacer la pregunta por el chat. Que lo cogeremos después de las preguntas de mano alzada. Tenemos en principio hasta media hora para preguntas. Si vemos que no conseguimos responder todas las preguntas, sobre todo las que se queden por escrito, os las responderemos después, tanto los puntos nacionales de contacto como Zoltán a través de email. Las presentaciones que vais a tener hoy, tanto la de Zoltán como la mía, la introducción, las tenéis ya en el sistema. En la barra que estáis viendo a la derecha tenéis la posibilidad de ver un punto que se llama documentos. Dentro de él tenéis las dos presentaciones, ¿vale? Para que podáis ya tenerlas de registro. Por otro lado, sabéis que este webinario lo estamos grabando y, bueno, pues dentro de unos días lo colgaremos también en nuestro canal de YouTube de horizonte2020.es, pues para los que queréis consultar algo más concreto o para los compañeros que hoy, por lo que sea, pues no nos pueden acompañar. Y por último, la última cosa práctica es que cuando cerréis el webinario vais a recibir una pequeña encuesta, son 3 o 4 preguntas muy breve, que, bueno, pues como os podéis imaginar, nos ayuda cualquier comentario que tengáis a mejorar para futuras ocasiones. Y después de deciros esto, voy a compartir mi presentación. Me vais a permitir que quite la cámara para que podáis ver mi pantalla. Ahora, si quiere, sí. Bueno, ahora en principio todos estáis viendo mi pantalla. No hace falta que os introduzca mucho Reto 6 porque, como sabéis, ya estamos en el último año de lo que está siendo Horizonte 2020. Hoy vamos a hablar de lo que esperamos son las últimas convocatorias de Horizonte 2020 dentro de Reto 6. Sí, un breve recordatorio de los 3 pilares que tiene Horizonte 2020, ciencia excelente, liderazgo industrial y retos sociales, dentro de los cuales, de los 7 retos sociales que se definieron para este periodo, uno de ellos es el Reto 6 con una financiación para todo el periodo 2014-2020 de unos 1.300 millones. Dentro de Reto 6 que hemos podido encontrar durante la vida de este programa, que tuvo este título probablemente tan poco intuitivo, Europa en un mundo cambiante, sociedades inclusivas, innovadoras y reflexivas, en palabras un poco más llanas que lo que definieron los documentos iniciales allí por 2013, es este objetivo de dar respuesta a las preocupaciones de los ciudadanos europeos. Durante los 3 últimos años de Horizonte 2020, 2018, 2019, 2020, hemos tenido 3, digamos, paquetes de convocatoria, 3 áreas de convocatoria. La primera fue migración y la crisis de los refugiados, pues obviamente por el problema estructural que está viviendo Europa en los últimos tiempos. Una siguiente convocatoria, una segunda área de convocatoria llamada Transformations, transformaciones socioeconómicas y culturales en el contexto de la cuarta revolución industrial, que como conocéis la mayoría, me imagino, podéis ver aquí temas muy diversos, desde lo que os queda algo más cerca, que es el área cultural y patrimonio cultural, pero también la evolución, la modernización de las administraciones públicas a través de las TICs y, bueno, como veis, un variado número de convocatorias específicas que bueno, pues que se complementan de distintas maneras. La presentación de las convocatorias que vais a tener hoy, todas encajan dentro de esta área de convocatorias que es Transformations. Y por último, esta tercera área de convocatorias, Governance, gobernanza para el futuro, donde se tocan muchos temas de déficit democrático, de tipos de gobernanza, de construcción de la Unión Europea, etcétera. Donde podéis encontrar específicamente las convocatorias de las que estoy hablando es en el programa de trabajo del Reto 6. Es un único documento que incluye 2018, 2019, 2020. Tenéis el link en la pantalla. Tenéis que fijaros que en el título salga el año 2020, porque si veis alguna convocatoria que ponga 2018 o 2019 solo, quiere decir que ya se cerraron. Las fechas que tenéis que tener en cuenta para las convocatorias 2020 es sobre todo la de cierre, el 12 de marzo de 2020, cierra las convocatorias en las cuales, que vais a tener hoy la presentación, en las cuales podéis presentar propuestas. Sobre lo que vamos a hablar hoy, lo que va a hablar Zoltán Krasnay, nuestro officer invitado, son las convocatorias que tenéis en pantalla, estas 5 convocatorias. No voy a entrar más en detalle porque sí que Zoltán tendrá la oportunidad de verlas de una en una. Y bueno, tenemos la suerte de que también nos trae un último punto sobre Horizonte Europa, lo que tenemos avanzado hasta ahora de Horizonte Europa y ver de alguna manera cómo se va a continuar el trabajo también a través del nuevo programa que nos viene para los próximos 7 años, 2021-2027. Para los que a lo mejor no os encontráis, sois, digamos, nuevos en el área de Reto 6, aquí os dejo el link, ¿veis? Son linkables los títulos, el link a todas las convocatorias que se han ido financiando durante estos años 2014, 2019 a través de este programa. Os he puesto en negrita las 2 convocatorias que específicamente tenían un peso, donde la cultura y el patrimonio cultural tenían un peso muy relevante, que fue Reflective en 2014-2015, Inculcop en 2016-2017. A través de estos links que os llevan al Funding and Tenders Opportunities portal de la Comisión Europea, podéis ver las convocatorias que se abrieron y luego dentro de las convocatorias los proyectos resultantes. Un breve inciso para ver los resultados de España en las convocatorias pasadas, que ha sido variable, sobre todo dependiendo de los temas que incluían cada uno de los años. Es de resaltar que en España se nos da especialmente bien, los participantes son muy potentes en las áreas de hoy precisamente, las áreas de patrimonio cultural y cultura. Tradicionalmente hemos visto que han tenido más peso estas convocatorias en 2015 y en 2017, donde hemos tenido una participación especialmente buena, sin contar este último año 2019, donde España es primer país en atracción de financiación, con un 12% sobre el presupuesto asignado a la Unión Europea, a los 28 de la Unión Europea, y además es primer país en coordinación de proyectos, con un 16% de los proyectos coordinados por instituciones españolas. Es decir, la evolución de los participantes españoles ha sido muy bueno durante estos años, y esperemos que, pues ya que podamos cerrar 2020 con broche de oro y mantener estas tasas de participación tan buenas como lo que hemos visto en 2019. Voy a acabar esta breve presentación con los servicios de los NCPs, los puntos nacionales de contacto, que la mayoría de vosotros conocéis. Somos 2 puntos nacionales de contacto, soy yo misma y Carolina Rodríguez en la Agencia Andaluza del Conocimiento, que hoy está también conectada con nosotros, las personas que os resolvemos vuestras dudas, las que nos encontráis en los Infodays y en los talleres, para precisamente intentaros facilitar esta labor de participar en un proyecto europeo. Las dos respondemos a través del mismo mail que tenéis abajo, sociedades.h2020@oficinaeuropea.es. Para todos, pues hacemos sesiones informativas y webinarios como los de hoy, resolución de consultas, y luego distinguimos de alguna manera entre las tareas, los apoyos para coordinadores y para socios. Para socios, normalmente la mayor dificultad que encontráis es cómo sumarnos a un consorcio europeo, cuando a lo mejor nuestra experiencia previa no tenemos esa red de contactos aún creada a nivel europeo. Os apoyamos sobre todo a través de la red de puntos nacionales de contacto Net for Society, que tiene una página web, os invito a visitar para que veáis también el tipo de actividades que hacemos todos los países a través de ella. Y por otro lado, para coordinadores, nuestro papel se centra en esa escritura de la propuesta europea que, aunque sea trabajo de todos los socios, la realidad es que asume de una manera mucho más directa el coordinador. Hacemos asesoramiento sobre el encaje de la idea de proyecto en unas fases más iniciales, normalmente pues es hasta diciembre, todavía podríamos hacerlo, pero es verdad que en el caso de encajar, ahora los plazos ya son justitos para preparar una propuesta robusta. Lo que sí hacemos son talleres de preparación y escritura de propuestas, que llevamos haciéndolo también un par de años, de 2 días, más pensada para coordinadores, pero en el caso de haber plaza también para otros socios o otros interesados. Y muy importante, lectura de propuestas, sobre todo por la experiencia previa de lectura de muchas propuestas que vamos acumulando tanto Carolina como yo. Os pedimos que nos mandéis la propuesta, eso sí, hasta 3 semanas antes de la fecha de cierre, porque recibimos muchas propuestas y de alguna manera debemos poner una fecha para asegurar que os llegan nuestros comentarios con un plazo suficiente para incorporarlos a la propuesta final. Después de 3 semanas de fecha de cierre, ¿no leemos? Sí, seguimos leyendo, pero ya nos podemos asegurar que podamos leer todas las propuestas que recibimos. Normalmente es posible que las últimas que recibamos no consigamos pasárosla en tiempo. Sobre el taller de preparación de propuestas, esta es normalmente el tipo de estructura que venimos siguiendo. Tenemos ya cerradas el 13-14 de febrero de 2020 en Barcelona y en Madrid, que es la primera semana de febrero, a falta de definir exactamente los días. Es un taller de 1 día y medio. El primer día hacemos un simulacro de evaluación de propuestas, es decir, leemos propuestas reales de una convocatoria específica para tener esa experiencia de cómo es una propuesta en realidad, más allá de lo que nos dice la plantilla, y para de alguna manera intercambiar experiencia con los participantes, con otras personas que pueden, a los que les puede llamar la atención cosas distintas de una propuesta específica, ¿no? En la segunda parte, un taller de preparación de propuestas, es más una presentación al uso en el que os vamos dando recomendaciones más prácticas sobre cómo escribir una propuesta durante el proceso, etcétera. Y ya con esto acabo. Me imagino que conocéis, o espero que conozcáis, nuestra página web de eshorizonte2020.es, que es nuestro portal único de información a nivel nacional para Horizonte 2020. Lo gestionamos en nombre del Ministerio, tanto desde Oficina Europea de FECID como desde el CEDETI, que somos los dos organismos que tenemos puntos nacionales de contacto. Y, como podéis imaginar, no pretende replicar la información que ya existe en los portales europeos. No hay información específica de convocatorias. Para presentar convocatorias sí que es todos los distintos servicios de apoyo a la presentación de propuestas que hacemos a nivel nacional, tipo de eventos que creemos que pueden ser de interés, etcétera. Y bueno, y también nuestro Twitter es Horizonte 2020. Y yo con esto acabo. De nuevo, recordaros nuestro email, sociedades.h2020@oficinaeuropea.es, donde centralizamos, tanto Carolina como yo, las consultas que recibimos por vuestra parte, ya que es verdad que muchas veces puede estar viajando una u otra y es la forma en la que nos conseguimos organizar mejor. Y dicho esto, voy a dar la palabra a Zoltán Krasnay. Zoltán, are you here?
Yes, thank you very much, Rocio.
Thank you very much. I will open your presentation now, so the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this very kind and very interesting introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you hear me very well through this web connection. It is an honor to be invited to give information about the upcoming topics of Societal Challenge 6. As Mrs. Castrillo presented myself, I work for the European Commission's Directorate General for Research and Innovation, a senior policy officer, and I worked on some of these topics. And currently, I'm the secretary of the work program where we prepared those topics with the member states. And I would like to also congratulate the Spanish participants to previous calls to this excellent result. I was really astonished to see that the Spanish success rate is practically the double of the average success rate in Societal Challenge 6. It is certainly linked to the excellence of your proposals, but I think the excellent work of the national contact points and the back offices, the administrations, is also there to explain this success. So today I propose that we look into 5 topics which will have the deadline as it was explained in March. And at the end of my presentation, I would like to say, I hope you are interested, a few words about Horizon Europe, which is the next research and innovation framework program to be started next year. If I have, may I have the next slide, please? This one. Thank you very much. All the topics that we will discuss today are in the second call of the work program for 2020. It was mentioned by Mrs. Castrillo that it has the title Socioeconomic and Cultural Transformations in the Context of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And our first topic on the next slide is Transformations number 4, Innovative Approaches to Urban and Regional Development through Cultural Tourism. You might recall that the same topic title was already used last year for a research and innovation action. For this year, it comes back as an innovation action with an overall budget of 8 million euro and with the suggested size for proposals around 4 million euros. So we expect to have 2 successful and excellent projects running side by side parallelly in the next years. The reason for this topic is the same as it was explained in last year, is that cultural tourism is gaining importance, but in a very unequal way throughout Europe and of course also in the other parts of the world, but let's focalize more about Europe and its neighborhood and surroundings, meaning that there are parts of Europe where cultural tourism is very little developed, and other parts which are really overexploited from the point of view of cultural tourism. And one of the other starting points is that cultural tourism in many cases lacks international or inter-regional connections. And we would like to look into those questions with the proposal makers. And this time we propose to have a more practice-based approach, a more innovative approach for the solutions and also for the different networks and stakeholder involvement, which is less centered on genuine research and more on practice and pilots and applications of the solutions. So we propose that the proposals should target Europe's natural and cultural sites, including those with an industrial heritage. We would like to ask them also to look into the relationship between European cultural tourism or intra-European cultural tourism and Europeanization. Is there a relationship between the creation of a European cultural space? Does cultural tourism contribute or not to European identities, to belongings? This is also a very interesting question. We would like to ask the consortia to develop place-based and participatory approaches, so not just theoretical research or innovative solutions, but really taking into account the specificities of the different cultural sites or regions or cultural routes or whatever they propose in their approaches. And we give them the opportunity to create innovative strategies and pilot solutions for sustainable cross-border, regional, and local cooperations through cultural tourism. And here we had a lot of discussions about what cross-border means with Mrs. Castrillo when we wrote this topic. Cross-border is international. It does not mean that the two partners or the two areas should be on the two sides of the same border. Cross-border can be also cooperation between the Spanish region and someone from Finland, just to give an example. So it is not just across the border, it's international. The topic gives the opportunity to give a special focus. It is not an obligation, it's a possibility on minority cultures or regions with important minority cultures and on less attractive regions and cities. And it also specifies that it would be good to look beyond the borders of the European Union, also involve associated countries or non-EU countries of the Balkans, the Eastern neighborhood countries, or other countries of the Mediterranean. And overall, we would like to see a very wide stakeholder engagement in these innovation actions from researchers to municipalities, to regional authorities, to small and medium-sized enterprises, to different specialists and participants of the cultural tourism industry, if we can call it like this. On the impact side, we would like to see improved sustainable cultural tourism policies and practices for the different stakeholders at the different levels, from the local to the European level and beyond. Proposals or also already pilots for more efficient use of European structural investment funds for the development of cultural tourism. The establishment of new partnerships or deepened partnerships between public and private actors, and innovative tools and methods to understand cultural tourism and cultural Europeanization. So research is not excluded, it is part of it, but putting in practice trying different solutions would be very much the target of this topic. And obviously you will have the opportunity to come back with your questions at the end of the presentation about this topic. If we could move to the next one, please. It is number 10 in this call, evolving European media landscapes and Europeanizations. It is very closely related to culture, or maybe we can even go further and say that one day what we call today's media, it will be somehow cultural heritage. I wouldn't go so far for the moment, but I think you might also have interest in that, especially because in Societal Challenge 6, this is the first topic about media, although it was part of the legal background, sort of an obligation to come up with the topic. This is the very first one, and also the last one of this Research and Innovation Framework Program. This topic is a research and innovation action with 9 million euro of overall budget, and the targeted size of proposals should be around 3 million euro according to the European Commission, giving the opportunity to have 3 parallel projects running from next year. Maybe I just recall very rapidly what is the difference between an innovation action and the research and innovation action from the point of view of financing. For the research and innovation action, 100% of eligible cost can be financed from the Research and Innovation Framework Program, while for innovation actions, it is 70%, with the exception of non-profit organizations who can also have 100% financing of the eligible cost in innovation actions. Let's come back to our topic. It is not a novelty to say that the media landscape is rapidly changing with the social media, with new conglomerates, with new consumption patterns of media. But we really lack up-to-date, recent, comparative, geographically balanced and wide-reaching analysis of what is happening. So that is the starting point. The research and innovation projects are expected to analyze the transformations of the European media landscape in the 21st century. I think in the topic it is given that from the turn of the millennium up to now, so it is 2 decades. And they should examine how media representations of major European political and cultural issues, and we gave here a couple of examples, the list is not exhaustive at all, like migration, religions, crisis, terrorism, sport, elections, and so on and so forth, are affected by new modes of media production and consumption, and by new trends of ownership and control over media content. It gives a lot of opportunity to really tailor-made according to your strength and interest the proposal. The scope is also to investigate patterns of media consumption or usage according to a certain disaggregation by socioeconomic categories, wealth or age or gender. It is up to the proposal makers to come up with their categories, and European countries and regions. So here also it is very important to have a wide geographical coverage in the consortia or in the targeted and researched regions and countries. And we would like to ask proposals to study impacts of the transformations of the media landscape on the evolution of a common European political and cultural space. We come back to the idea that I've already mentioned in the previous topic of Europeanization. And here the question is, what are the effects of the media landscape, the transformations of the media landscape, and everything which is related to that, to the ideas and representations of a European political and cultural space? Do they contribute? Do they go against? They have no impact at all? Are there trends of more localization in media consumption, or more globalization, or more Europeanization, or there are different trends running parallelly? Concerning the impact part, I highlighted a couple of important impacts that will be certainly looked into during the evaluation. Is that proposals should fill the knowledge gap on transformations of the European media or media landscape. They should provide forecasts on the evolution of the sector. So we are not just looking into the past and the current situation, but we would like to hear your views about the future. Understand how European political and cultural spaces are evolving. And it is very important also to improve statistical data and research methods, not only statistical, it can be also qualitative methodology concerning contemporary media. Let's move to the third topic of ours for today, please. It is number 12, creation of digital assets and advanced digitization. Here I have to make a couple of caveats. As it was mentioned by our host, Mrs. Castillo, my background is in history, more social sciences and humanities, and 3 out of the topics that I present today were developed by us in Directorates General for Research and Innovation of the Commission, and 2 of them in the Directorates General for Digital Technologies and Digitization of Society, what we call DG Connect. I know very well the author of those topics, and I have a sound understanding of what are those topics, but I'm not an IT expert. So maybe later on you might have a couple of very IT-related questions where I will not be able to give a very convincing answer. My apologies in advance for that. So let's see what this topic is about. It is a research and innovation action, and it has a very decent, very nice overall budget, more than 30 million euro. The suggested size of proposals is around 3 million euro, and that will give the opportunity to have at least 4 parallelly running winning projects. Of course, if there are so many excellent proposals after the evaluations. The topic starts from the conclusion, which is very well known by museum specialists or cultural heritage digitization specialists, that there is an exponential growth of digital cultural heritage content. But it also means an increasing challenge of management to curators. So the topic offers the possibility to evolve from a localized and static digital archiving of cultural heritage to a more active management and curatorship of cultural heritage digital resources, also transforming digital archiving of cultural heritage into creating cultural heritage digital resources and digital assets, which are consolidated through clever, efficient and user-friendly interlinkages between the different elements. That's why it is a central part of this topic, the cooperation between multiple actors, namely specialists of the technology side, the IT side of digitization, and social scientists and humanities on the other side. The scope of the topic gives the opportunity to include in digitization, in addition to the audiovisual appearance of cultural heritage objects, the related cultural, historical, social evolution and events. So to create the semantic web of content of different resources. And through that semantic web of different cultural heritage resources. The proposals would connect the tangible and intangible aspects of cultural heritage through curation of digital cultural heritage. One example that came to my mind, and what the author of this topic always mentioned as a good example, I don't want to mention it that it should be an example for everything, but this is something he always mentioned to me. It was the renovation project of the Saint Sepulchre in Bethlehem, where we have the grave of Jesus, and where the different participants, specialists of architecture, digitalization, historians, cultural experts, art historians, collected all the different elements of cultural heritage knowledge, and they tried to create a sort of a consolidated presentation and access for all the different partners to enhance the restoration project. And this topic would also give beyond that, also including the end users, how they could get a better access to the different digitized aspects of cultural heritage. About the impacts, the topic requests that proposers should demonstrate how new technologies, methods, and data formats would help to present cultural and historic remains and memories. Proposers should show how the digital preservation and analysis of cultural heritage enhance understanding of cultural history. And the last one, among the impacts that I highlighted, I think it's the most difficult, is deliver solutions to the problem that language change hampers static ways of retrieving the information from historic data collections. This is something that comes back every time. Standardization and update from one technological language or storage language to a new one, how to update from one storage format to another one. I know that many of you struggle with this in everyday life and also as researchers or innovators, but here is the possibility to come up with innovative solutions for the future. Thank you for your attention about this topic. Let's move to the number 19. It has the title Culture Beyond Borders, Facilitating Innovation and Research Cooperation Between European Museums and Heritage Sites. It is a coordination and support action with 6 million euro of overall budget and 3 million proposed as the expected size of your proposals. So the first time in Societal Challenge 6, we will have, in case of sufficiently good proposals, we will have 2 parallel coordination and support actions that could also work very closely together. Coordination and support actions. We had a lot of discussions also in the program committee with member states that we saw that they were not very popular in the last year among proposal makers. We even had a topic where there was no proposal at all. And we don't really know what are the reasons for that, but one of the reasons mentioned by many researchers, many scholars, many member state representatives was that coordination and support actions are not so interesting for researchers because there are less publications. What I would like to highlight is that a good coordination and support action can create a network that can be used for decades. It's not only for the 2, 3, 4 years of the project that it can work. It can be really an excellent basis also for the coordinator, for the participating institutions, and also for a wider network to cooperate in the future among them, and also with different stakeholders, policymakers. So I think also for research and innovation, it can have a very, very high impact. Also, coordination and support actions, they are very influential in giving forecasts and indications and advice to policymakers and for us in the European Commission on how to imagine the future research and innovation questions. So usually one of the very important tasks of coordination and support actions is to map the current situation and influence the future. So that's why participation, I think it is very important. And also, maybe it is not without interest, the success rate was very, very high because of the low participation. For example, one of the last one where I moderated evaluation, we had in a cultural heritage field 4 proposals for 1 winning place. I think having 25% of chance, it is extraordinary in Horizon 2020, whatever part of it we are talking about. Now, let's get back to the topic. We would like to support with those coordination and support actions, better connection between cultural heritage collections and sites. And what we have in mind is that we see a lot of cooperation, but usually among the most well-known, strongest, and the richest museums. And there are many, many other museum types and heritage sites and different networks which struggle to maintain cooperation over time due to many, many reasons, lack of financing, legal problems, intellectual property right issues, and so on and so forth. But we really consider that museums and heritage sites are, of course, very important to present collections or cultural heritage, but they are also hubs for knowledge, technological knowledge, curatorship knowledge, art historianship, and so on and so forth. So that's why creating lasting networks between them is very important at European level. So one of the basic tasks of those projects that will be selected is to create a network that brings together museums and heritage sites with researchers, public authorities, and other stakeholders. And when we talk about museums and heritage sites, the topic also mentions already running an important European initiatives, the European Heritage Label sites, and also the European cultural roots of the Council of Europe that should be somehow involved. We propose for the consortia to innovate in sharing collections, research facilities, and specialized knowledge for restoration, conservation, including knowledge about traditional crafts. This topic will also give the opportunity to jointly prepare traveling exhibitions or shared digital exhibitions, so part of the budget can be used for that. We would like to ask participants to evaluate bottlenecks and opportunities of enhanced cooperation between museums and heritage sites, and identify specific research, innovation, and training needs for the future, so that also other programs, not just Horizon Europe, can target those needs, for example, with specific programs under Erasmus cooperation or volunteering to work in museums and heritage sites. So the limit is the sky for new ideas. On the impact side, it is since this is a coordination and support action, the impact is very much what was described in the scope. So there must be a network of museums, heritage sites, researchers, or policymakers. We expect the development and sharing of best practices, so mapping and sharing of best practices, this joint organization of traveling exhibitions and or shared digital exhibitions, support knowledge exchange between the partners or between the partners and an extended network, and identify key research and innovation challenges and training needs for the future. Thank you very much for this, for your attention about this topic. And then let's see the last one. Number 20, European Competence Center for the Preservation and Conservation of Monuments and Sites. It is a very, very ambitious topic. Also a coordination and support action, this time with an overall budget of 3 million euro. This is also the suggested size of budgetary request of the proposers. So if nothing changes, one project will be selected. The idea is to set up a competence center for the preservation and conservation of European cultural heritage. And I think here one of the biggest challenge is really the sustainability of the competence center created, the sustainability beyond the funding period. And this is one of the very important parts of the topic description, to demonstrate plans for sustainability beyond the funding period. The competence center would be very much targeted, not exclusively, but very much about the use of new state-of-the-art ICT technologies for preservation of European cultural heritage. As a coordination and support action, the winning project will map past and ongoing research in this field, collect, analyze, and promote best practices from Europe and beyond. It will perform transnational and interdisciplinary networking in the preservation of cultural heritage, so also including social sciences and humanities. It will support cultural institutions to benefit from the opportunities brought by new ICT technologies, and it will become an ambassador for massive digitization of endangered European cultural heritage. Because one of the constants from where the topic starts is that there is an increasing pressure on cultural heritage, whether it is tangible or intangible, because of climate change, because of weather effects, pollution, conflicts in Europe and outside of Europe. And that's why it is very important to boost the capacities of digital conservation and preservation of cultural heritage. The expected impacts are an increase in the quality of preservation initiatives, a contribution to the increase in the number of and quality of digitized monuments and documents. The winning project should strengthen the coordination between all players, stakeholders, and we would like to see a contribution to the upscaling of the competencies of potential users of these new state-of-the-art ICT technologies. It's a very interesting topic with a lot of potential, but really the sustainability issue should be very well thought through by partners, because the idea is not to have a coordination and support action that will stop, but it should continue or evolve into other structures or look also for other financing opportunities after the end of the funding period. So those are the topics. I suggest that I say a few words about the future, Horizon Europe, and then we will have enough time for your questions in the second part of the webinar. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you very much. You've certainly seen already this little visual presentation of the structure of the new Horizon Europe Research and Innovation Program. It is quite similar to the current one, to Horizon 2020. We will have a dedicated pillar for collaborative research. This time it will be Pillar 2, Global Challenges in European Industrial Competitiveness, and it will have different thematic clusters. This time they will not be called societal challenges, but they will be clusters. On the next slide, we can take a look on the proposed clusters. They are at the number of 7: digital, industry and space, civil security for society, health, food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture and environment, climate, energy and mobility, and one with the title Culture, Creativity and Inclusive Societies, which is somehow, not totally, but somehow the continuation of the current Societal Challenge 6. The budget proposed for Pillar 2 by the European Commission is quite significant. It's 52.7 billion euro, but it is linked to the discussions on the so-called multi-annual budget, the multi-annual financial framework of the European Union. So it was proposed in a very optimistic period of the European Union, early last year. And what we see, it was already in 2018, that currently many member states are trying to reduce the size of the European budget, which will most probably result in a reduction of the size of the European Research and Innovation Framework Program as well. So let's take a look on the on this cluster number 2 on the next slide. It will have 3 intervention areas according to current knowledge. One on democracy and governance, one on social and economic transformations with all the multiple fields that you can imagine under social and economic transformations, and the third one, which is not well represented on this slide. It will have the simple title of cultural heritage. And you can have a closer look. I put in my presentation links to the currently available documents that I would like to show on the last slide. There is a legal base for the next Research and Innovation Framework Program, which is called the Specific Program. We also have it for Horizon 2020, which is a 150 pages long document describing the different parts of Horizon Europe, from the European Research Council to the European Innovation Council, which is a novelty, and also the different clusters. This document was finalized in the European Council, in the Council of Ministers last year in April, but it is not yet adopted as a legislative act. But we can consider it more or less finalized, and I put there a link where you can consult the part on cluster 2 and especially the part on the cultural heritage intervention area. And on the basis of this not yet adopted legislative document, we developed orientations to the first strategic plan of Horizon Europe. This strategic plan will cover the first 4 years from 2021 to 2024. And the final version of these orientations to the strategic plan, it was published and available online. It was also subject of public consultation, and probably many of you or your institutions contributed to the public consultation, and we integrated those remarks which were supported by a large number of stakeholders into this orientation document, and you will find a part on cultural heritage. On the basis of these 2 documents, currently we start the preparation of the first work program that will cover 2021, 2022, and very soon we will enter into discussions, exchange with the member states and associated countries to the framework program about the outlines of this first work program. So this is the current situation. What will change according to us is that all research related to cultural heritage will be in one place, whether it is about tangible cultural heritage, intangible, digitization, or digital cultural heritage. So it will not be split into different parts, which was the case until under Horizon 2020. You had the environmental part here, you had the technical part there, you had the material science in another part. So these parts should come together in cluster 2. But of course, there is a very big question, the size of the budget, and this we will see later on. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm very much available to answer your questions. I don't know how we will handle this, but I'm sure that Reto will help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zoltán, for this very good presentation. As you have seen, Zoltán Krasna is no doubt the person to have here in this webinar. It was Zoltán Krasna, sin ninguna duda, es la persona que necesitábamos hoy para hablar de los topics. Hemos entrado a un nivel de detalle en cada uno de ellos y ahora voy a dar paso a las preguntas. Vale, tenemos 3 manos alzadas ahora mismo. La primera es de Giovanna Vera López. Voy a abrir el micrófono para Giovanna.
Hola. Hay que ver.
Hola.
Oli.
¿Me oyes?
Me voy a escribir.
Y Giovanna Vera, ¿tienes el micrófono abierto para la pregunta que quieras remitir a Zoltán en inglés?
Tengo un problema técnico, ya está. I have a technical problem.
Me parece que está teniendo algún problema, Giovanna. Le quito el micro y pasamos a la siguiente pregunta. Javier González Martín. Hola, Javier. Javier ha salido o ha bajado la mano, a lo mejor. ¿O sí? ¿Estás aquí? Javier.
No, perdón, ha sido un error. Es mi primera intervención. Perdón.
De acuerdo, gracias. Pues pasamos a la siguiente pregunta. Vale. Carmen Dali, abro el micrófono para Carmen Dali.
Hello, good morning. Zoltán, congratulations about your presentations. We are a lot of interested about the Competence Center, but I saw it's only one financial, but it's so interesting is you are interested in mapping and going directions and analysis and promoting practice, the best practice of conservation. Is maybe the next year is it continuously, or is this only one project?
Thank you very much for your question. What is sure that there will be money for a couple of years. So this is for one project, and yes. We cannot ensure that there will be a direct continuation. And even if there is a continuation, it should be a competitive evaluation of the different proposals. So we cannot guarantee that the winner of this current topic will have further funding after the end of this project. So that's why it is written in the topic that the proposal makers should think about sustainability, how they imagine to make this competence center sustainable without Horizon Europe funding, because the next time it will be Horizon 2020, it will be Horizon Europe. So the idea is that this 3 million, it helps to create the competence center, it helps to establish it, start to work, create the network, map the best practices, start to give advice about the use of these up-to-date and the latest ICT technologies for cultural heritage. But after, it should become autonomous, either with other European fundings, maybe it can be regional funding or structural funds or I don't know what, or based on national or private or other fundings. So your understanding is very good about the situation.
Yes, it's very complex. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Gracias, Carmen. Pasamos ahora a la pregunta de Mauricio Toscano. Mauricio, ¿tienes el micro abierto?
Hello,
¿Puedes
good
oír?
morning. I take the opportunity to congratulate, thanks Zoltan and the National Contact Point for the presentation, and to greet Zoltan as well. And I have a question for the first call that you presented about cultural tourism, and we are interested in participating in preparing a proposal with the University of Granada. And my question is, because this is the second round for this call, well, as well for the others, but for this call in particular, how much is expected and can be beneficial to plan a collaboration with projects already financed in the first round that they just started? I know there have been 3 projects financed and just started the 1st of January. So how much is it expected to plan in terms of results and partner a collaboration with these projects? Well, with both, and also because there is expected to have 2 projects financed, how much it is expected or can be beneficial, the same, to plan some sort of collaboration with the other project that will be funded, or it is more expected by the Commission that the 2 projects will run in parallel with their own route. And sorry, I'm in an airport. Probably you are listening now, the voice. Anyway, this is the question.
Hola Maurizio, very happy to hear you, and I hope that you do well. Thank you for your question. It is absolutely relevant, both aspects that you've mentioned. So first of all, it is not a formal criterion to have cooperation with the already selected research and innovation actions or with the parallelly running projects. But I think it is an added value if like-minded projects plan cooperation from the beginning, because it always helps for reaching out to stakeholders, to multiply the impact of a project. And this is something that the European Commission always tries to promote, but sometimes it's very difficult when it is not planned from the beginning. So I think it would be an added value to take already in the planification phase contact with the new project that they just start in January. I don't know whether you can already contact them or not, and to think about cooperation with another project. Of course, you cannot know which project will be selected, but theoretically keep this in mind and develop this in the proposal. I think it would be seen as an added value. As a moderator, I would recommend to the evaluators to see this as an added value.
Okay,
Mauricio,
thank you very much.
te había quitado el sonido por el ruido de fondo. Está resuelta, ¿verdad?
Yeah, claro. Sí.
Muy bien.
Está resuelto. Thank you very much for the answer.
Thank you, Zoltan. Doy paso a la siguiente pregunta que tenemos, Silvia María González. Hola, Silvia. ¿Nos puedes oír, Silvia? Pasamos entonces, mientras solucionas los problemas de conexión, a la pregunta que tenemos de Xavier Llopis.
Hello.
Xavier, ¿puedes oírnos?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello.
Sí, te escuchamos. Haz tu pregunta.
Did you hear me? Okay. Okay. Hi, Zoltan. Thank you very much for the presentation. Here at the Computer Business Center, we are working. We have several projects working on the demographic analysis of historical archives, and archives related to, let's say, people, just census and marriage registers from church. So the question we have is if this sort of information fits in the topic related to the curation of digital assets, Transformations 12, because so the focus is in cultural heritage, and we see this historical archive as cultural heritage, but the information we get from these archives is not cultural itself, is from the point of view of demographics. So the question is, does this concept of this approach fit in the topic?
According to my understanding, absolutely. So just to give you an example, when the Time Machine project is trying to digitize the Venetian Republic's historical archives, obviously the archives are not talking about cultural objects or cultural heritage as such, but they talk about everyday life, about merchant fleet of the Republic, about boats and about different goods coming in and out from the city and police issues. So I think everything which is in a historical archive is part of this digitization. So I think it is totally in scope.
Okay, thank you, because we are partners of the Time Machine project, so it's our line of work now. So thank you very much for your reply.
You're welcome.
Javier. De nuevo voy a intentar dar la palabra a Cristina María González. No sé si consigues conectarte. No sé si he dicho Cristina María, quería decir Silvia María González. Creo que no. ¿Hola? No consigue hacer el sonido. Tenemos una pregunta más por escrito, pero tengo problemas para leerla. No sé si está cortada. Es de Cristina Medina. I have a question about Transformations 19. If it's expected to, no puedo, no, I cannot read more. So, Cristina, ¿estás aquí? ¿Podrías conectarte por micro? Vale. Te voy a buscar para darte el micro. Cristina Medina. Sí, perfecto. ¿Puedes escucharnos? ¿Puedes ahora, Cristina, hablar? ¿Tienes el micro abierto? A ver si... No tengo micro. De acuerdo, pues Cristina, si te parece, como no podemos leer tu pregunta completa, lo que vamos a hacer es lo respondemos por email, nos escribes un email y buscamos la solución. Intentamos responder tu pregunta. Pues en principio no tenemos más preguntas. We don't have more questions, Zoltan, so I think it was crystal clear. If we have more questions, I will take advantage of your contact to send it to you if you agree on this.
Of course.
Y ya como cierre del webinario, muchas gracias a las personas que habéis participado. Hemos ido teniendo picos de participación, que en caso hemos estado por 125 personas. Gracias a los 105 que seguís conectados, lo que muestra el gran interés de la presentación. Yo no tengo más que agradeceros el estar aquí, estar interesándoos por las convocatorias europeas, que son una gran fuente de financiación, y no solo de financiación, sino una oportunidad única, unos espacios probablemente únicos para hacer una investigación de altísima calidad. Y, por supuesto, no olvidéis que los puntos nacionales de contacto estamos para ayudaros en vuestras dudas, y lo que intentamos hacer es, si no podemos tener la solución con nosotros, buscar la solución y remitirla también a los oficios de la Comisión Europea para daros la mejor respuesta posible y que presentéis propuestas con las mayores garantías. Recordad que ahora cierre, cuando cerréis el programa, o cuando cierre yo la sesión, os hará una serie de preguntas que sí que os agradecería en la medida de vuestras posibilidades que respondáis, porque gracias a ellos conseguimos ir mejorando pues esta comunicación que tenemos con vosotros. Así que, sin más, yo me despido agradeciendo a Zoltan Krasnay. Thank you very much for being with us today. I think it was very useful. Thank you, everyone. If you have more questions, I hope you are now ready to prepare proposals, don't hesitate to contact us NCPs to help you. And in case we need some more help from Zoltan, we will send you questions. So I will close the webinar. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you for the invitation. Goodbye. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.